All right, y'all. We are back again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's your boy G along with Alec, another great episode, Section 300. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, rate, subscribe, all of that for us online. IG and TikTok at Section.300, Twitter, Section 300 Sports. A lot of good stuff going on all over the place. And as you guys can see today, we're joined by another special guest, Jason Jones, the Athletic. Thank you so much for joining us again, sir.
No problem, no problem. Kind of a boring week this week. Ain't nothing going on. So.
Nothing going on. Nothing too crazy. And while we discuss just what's going on this week, I want to first again celebrate you for joining us and thanking you for that, and also turn back to Alec. Alec, your birthday was a couple of days ago. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank
35 years old, right? 35, 45. How are you now?
I may have some old head takes, but I'm not there. Yeah, 25.
Oh, I missed 25. I go back and do that again. I got a list of things I would have did differently at 25.
I might have to get that list from you then.
so definitely a great week amongst everything else going on. Also, just one thing I had to mention. Okay. Today is February 9th. Yeah. I say that because I'm telling on myself, my family finally took the Christmas lights down off of our house today. Usually it's like a 2-week rule, after Christmas, get that stuff down and on to the next. But we kind of lagged on that and finally got the Christmas lights off. So
you almost made it to Valentine's Day with them.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Hey man, there's a few things to celebrate that we could have kept them up for, but finally got them down.
Like in the shape of a heart or something, and then like all on purpose.
Yeah, we could have flipped it, but it is what it is, and on to the next. But now as we go into the view here. Now as we get on to the real things. While the lights are down, there still are a cause for celebration, and we're here during the week of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday is ahead of us. Bengals and Rams. Nobody thought the Bengals were going to get here, but here they are, and it's definitely going to be a fun game. Alec, we both picked the Chiefs and the Rams for this one. So seeing the Bengals get here definitely is a surprise to us and a surprise to everybody, as I've mentioned. So definitely going to be a fun week. Jason, what do you think of the Bengals making it this far? And we'll go to the Rams as well after that.
Well, to me, the Rams are supposed to be here. I mean, they found they don't have a draft pick till like 2080. So, I mean,
right.
They went out and got everybody they could. Bengals, I mean, sometimes you just got to be, sometimes it's better just to be right place, right time, lucky. I mean, they were a play away from going to overtime with the Raiders. That didn't happen. Right. A kick in overtime to get them past the Titans, and the second half of that game against the Chiefs, they executed the game plan you have to execute to beat Mahomes and them.
Right?
Don't blitz. Drop. They were able to that. I mean, because it was funny. I was flying down to LA that day. And I had booked my flight in the middle of the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, I said, okay, I can watch the game. Flight on the game. No, play the game on the flight. No big deal.
Right.
I get to the airport. The Bengals are down, I think, 21-3 or something.
Yep.
I remember that.
And I'm like, okay. Then I get through security. It's 21-10. By the time I board, it's 21-21.
we all were sure.
And I had no idea what happened because I was on the phone with the hotel because they had messed up my reservation.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing my little mobile check-in. I'm like, hold up, they ain't checking in for 2 days. I'm like, I'm going to be down there in 30, an hour. So, yeah. So I mean, Joe Burrow. I mean, sometimes some guys just have that like cool about them, and he's one. He just has it. I mean, there's really no way to describe it. He just has it. Right. When they in the draft, you hit on a receiver. I still think sometimes in the NFL, a dominant receiver is underrated because people kind of assume you get a good quarterback, it doesn't matter. But when you got a guy who can make a play for you, just get him the ball, that matters. They got a good receiving core. Mm-hmm. Offensive line may not be the best, but I mean, you got a good quarterback, you can work around that. So, I mean, I think the Rams are going to still win because I just think that line going against that front, the Rams have. And then again, that same front gave up, 9 sacks?
Exactly.
And they still won.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say I like the Rams to win, but it wouldn't be a shock if the Bengals won at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you there.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat. With you having the radio stuff on, the Bengals beating you guys early on, would it annoy you at all if the Bengals won?
No. I mean, I'm weird because growing up in LA, I was a kid. I had an AFC team and an NFC. So my teams were the Raiders and the Rams. I got a little older, and both teams moved. So I started rooting for the Eagles because no one in LA had a team anymore.
Right.
And I moved to the Bay, started kind of, rolling with the Raiders a little bit again. Then I covered them and hated them. And, for me, LA wins. I'm cool with LA winning. The Bengals win. Like, okay, you lost it. To me, it just kind of says, hey, the Raiders are an actual offensive line, a number one. They were like, for all the holes the Raiders had, they went down to the last play with that team.
Right.
Yeah, the Raiders, like my joke is they got 4 backup offensive linemen in Colton Miller. They got, no real number one receiver.
Right.
Secondary outside of Hayward was just like blah most of the year. I mean, I can't be mad at either team winning. I'm pretty sure if I search deep enough, there's probably some connection where I can convince myself, you know what, I think I'm okay with them winning. But my preference would be LA wins.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I got the AFC split like you. I'm a big Ravens fan, but a Rams fan with them being here as well. So I'm not supposed to I shouldn't be feeling anything towards the Bengals, honestly, but I wouldn't mind if they won either. I like Joe Burrow a lot and Jamar Chase, definitely a nice 1-2 punch as you mentioned. So I just hope for a good game in the end, but for an official prediction, definitely the Rams there. So yeah, definitely excited for that. Something I'm curious about, because you kind of alluded to it just with the team constructs on both sides. I was interested on what you guys thought the ripple effect would be for both teams winning. If the Bengals win, have a team that let the line be the backups that it is, or the mess of a line that it was, and sold out for your star QB and the weapons around him. While on the Rams side, you have this kind of super team there in a way, with all the acquired talent they put together. So what do you guys think the ripple effect would be for either squad winning? I'll go to you first there.
Sure. Yeah, I think the NFL, a lot of times we call it the copycat league. So I think you may start to see a trickle-down effect as far as teams maybe not emphasizing the offensive line as much as it was, because it felt like after that Tampa Bay versus Kansas City Super Bowl, it was like, now we see how important an offensive line is. But then you get this Bengals team with a very weak offensive line that makes a run to the Super Bowl. It's like, is it as important as we thought it was?
Yeah. No, on that, the Chiefs are after that flipped their whole O-line, but never got that true wide receiver 2, and that could have helped them out a little bit more had they prioritized that. So definitely a good point.
Exactly. And then with this past NFL draft, I think many people thought that the Bengals should have went with the O-line. I think it was Penei Sewell.
I believe so.
Who many people felt they should have drafted to help shore up that offensive line, but they went with Joe Burrow's guy, and it paid major dividends for them. And you may see more teams try to reunite a star wide receiver with their college quarterback or that kind of thing. So I think that's the kind of trickle down you may see from the Bengals making it. From the Rams' perspective, I guess more teams going with the win now approach as far as going all in and going for the proven veteran or proven star now versus keeping those draft picks and seeking to improve via the draft. But I mean, it's hard to do. It's based on the money you have available to you. I mean, because the Rams have the capital to be able to spend.
A whole bunch of it.
Yeah. So.
Just what do you think about the ripple effect of both squads, or at least with the Rams? What do you think could happen across the league if they win?
If they win, I don't think people can really duplicate what the Rams did. Most teams aren't going to give up all their picks. They were in a unique situation to get Stafford. They had a quarterback who was younger on a bigger contract. They could flip with him along with the pick. And they just have a philosophy that most teams aren't going to take. They don't care about picks, and I kind of with that because I'm like, give me the proven commodity. I don't care about if they win it, they're not going to care if they don't have a first round pick next year.
Right.
They don't care. Yeah. I mean, it's actually probably better for them financially because you've already got Aaron Donald, Stafford. They're going to pay Cooper Kupp a lot of money. They've got a lot of guys they've spent a lot of money on, but the thing is too is Jalen Ramsey, So you got a team of stars, but still can't miss the fact they've also drafted well. They've also had some pretty good hits in the draft.
Yeah,
they've kind of helped fill some of those holes, but I don't think you can really duplicate what they've done. And I look at with the Bengals, I almost thought they have to win it now if they're going to win it, because that division. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade, but it would, if you told me that the Bengals would miss the playoffs next season, it wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't surprise anybody.
I don't know if I'm willing to bet against them again like we did this year, because a lot of people thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs this year.
There'll be high expectations,
they were 10
of course.
7. It wasn't like they were just ran through the league. I mean, they were 10-7.
No.
And I mean, if Cleveland figures out their quarterback situation, if the Ravens can ever get a wide receiver and a passing game outside of their tight end, I mean, so many, you don't know what's going to happen in Pittsburgh, but I mean, the NFL is weird like that. It's really year to year. People forget the Rams were in the Super Bowl a few years ago.
Right.
And they kind of had the model of, we're going to ride our draft picks and kind of be, strategic as far as, some of the big name guys will pay Aaron Donald, but we'll give up a pick for a Brandon Cooks. But you had Jared Goff, I believe, still on his first contract.
Right.
And so then once that next contract kicks in, it's like, okay, we don't have time to play around with y'all. So you can't get the job done, Jared. Bye. We got to get the job done. They really couldn't afford to wait around when you got, the talent they have on this team. So it's, but the one thing I think the Bengals do remind you is that I wouldn't say that you don't have to focus on the O-line, but if you got a special quarterback, it can cover up a lot of holes. And Joel covers up a lot of holes by moving around, making plays, but they got to get that thing addressed, because they're going to get that guy killed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you're just lucky. I mean, they got the Raiders, who had played the last game of the regular season, into overtime, who turned around and had to play the first game on a Saturday after flying cross country. So sometimes you just get a good break. And I'm not trying to say that's why the reason why the Raiders lost, but you can't tell me in that fourth quarter in overtime those D linemen's legs were like, because the Raiders played like it felt like 15 overtime games.
Luck always plays a part in winning a title. Like every title team has.
Yeah, I'm not mad at them. You get lucky and you win the whole thing. Win the whole thing. Because ask Dan Marino, you don't always get back.
No, you don't.
So the first time Joe Burrow was the first of many, we don't know that.
Nothing for sure. Nothing is for sure at all.
They did get through the Chiefs twice too, which is something I didn't think they would get through once. So
I mean that's another insane thing. They, you look at who they went through. Two of the teams they beat in the playoffs, they beat twice. They beat the Raiders in the regular season and the postseason. The Chiefs the regular season and the postseason. And then Ryan Tannehill kept playing catch with their defense.
Right, literally, start to finish. So definitely could be an interesting thing to see on how teams react to how either of these teams win the Super Bowl. I think something that's going to be very interesting is seeing how teams might start racing for Aaron Rodgers a little bit more than the teams we already heard about. Teams that might already be finalized, already kind of set in stone. A Titans squad or a Steelers squad might enter the race for Aaron Rodgers, and with them already having those solidified squad there, with him being the missing piece potentially. So I'll be definitely looking out for that. It's gonna be fun to see how things people start reacting to the Super Bowl. So definitely gonna be a fun thing there. And we've addressed all the Super Bowl things, at least on the field. But Jason, you wrote an article recently just about the effect of the Super Bowl just in LA. And the ripple effect is having just across the city. I mean, how the gentrification is going on in the city here, and the Rams are trying to they have made their presence felt in one way, and are trying their best to not completely rid the culture that was already there in Inglewood, where their SoFi is planted. And definitely was a great read, and just want to thank you for that. Alec, did you read the article as well, and what did you think of his words?
No, I think that's a discussion that's been had since, I guess, 2016 or whatever, when the plans were put in place to bring SoFi to Inglewood. And it's a interesting conundrum when you have, a ton more jobs brought into the community, but you're potentially displacing people who are getting priced out of places they've been for decades for some business owners. So it's a tricky, slippery kind of slope, I guess. But I think, as he touched on, Andrew Whitworth has sought to help like kind of mitigate some of that. But yeah, it was a very interesting read. I touched on before that some of those food spots are some of my favorite spots as well. So it was cool to see that too. But yeah.
Does with them being here alongside the Chargers as well, does a win solidify them in the city? I know a lot of folks are still hesitant to embrace the Rams, and people are looking at the Chargers as well as possibly a team to root for. Does a win solidify the Rams in LA again?
I think so. Nobody's rooting for the Chargers. I mean, come
on. True.
The Chargers had 25-some years to make an imprint in LA, and LA just said, we'll just become fans of other teams or something. We ain't rooting for y'all. And I was in Inglewood for that story, I think about 3 or 4 days. I saw a total of 0 Charger fans.
Right.
I know it's, partly because, they're not in the playoff, but still, I'm like, you don't
solve everything like this.
Right. Yeah, you don't have it. I just don't sense a Chargers presence, fan wise, and even in the community and the businesses. The Rams are reaching out, trying to help, trying to be involved. From what I can tell from the businesses I talk to, Rams are asking, which minority businesses can we also help promote and support. They're trying to, drive that stuff, and I see Clippers stuff already. I can't find nothing with the Chargers. Right. I just think there's a natural disconnect because I think I'm probably like me. I still call them San Diego.
Yeah,
a lot of folks do.
I forget they play in LA.
But their fans are still San Diego.
I said the Raiders had to play San Diego when the season finale. I can't grasp them being LA, even though I know they started in LA.
Right.
Look, when they started, those people are all senior citizens if they remember them being in LA.
At this point,
there's no connection, and it's not. I don't think it's necessarily like anyone's fault. It's just at least the Rams had a long tradition in LA before they left, and they probably retained part of the fan base. And I think them winning the Super Bowl in St. Louis didn't hurt. So when they come back with a good team, and then the Chargers, they have a chance to make the playoffs, and their coach won't take a tie to get in the playoffs.
Right.
I was like, if that had been Anthony Lynn, they probably would have fired him like before the.
Oh gosh!
I couldn't. I was like, shout out to Staley for going for it on 4th down in his own territory. That's a close game, and you conceded 3 points.
Exactly.
Because the Raiders' red zone offense was terrible partly because they couldn't run the ball all year.
Right.
But yeah, it's the Chargers thing is weird, but the Rams, you see all the signage on the businesses, Rams house. They're really trying to do what they can to be LA's team. And if they win, they will be LA's team. LA loves winners,
Exactly.
LA is a big front running town because we got so much to do in LA. We are not about to waste. Like, I don't live in LA right now, but I don't waste my time watching the Lakers right now. I don't watch. I'm not watching
Probably
this.
Good for your mental health.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not watching.
You and me both.
All I'm gonna do is, like I said, my youngest son thought Russell's name was effing Westbrook a couple of days ago. I was like, "What are you doing?" Then, I was just like, "Yeah, nobody's watching that."
Right?
It's LA. We're that's why when I travel, fans would be like, "We're diehards. They suck." I was like, "So you still spend your money on this?" You're proud of the fact that you go watch this team.
Unfortunately, I was watching those Robert Sacre days. And
we were there. We were there.
But I'll say the Kings now, the Lakers. This is my least favorite Laker team of all time.
Well, yeah, they play with no heart, focus, dedication. Like they don't play.
I wish they had Robert Sacre out there because at least I know Robert Sacre is trying.
Right, exactly.
I don't feel like Smush Parker's just getting completely out hustled. That's what makes this team so hard to watch because we're 50 plus games into the season. Why are you still trying to ease your way in the games?
Yeah, I don't get
I'm like, why are you down 20-some points in the first half at home to Milwaukee?
Ridiculous.
Why?
Ridiculous.
Right. Gave up
I don't need to blame, but somebody. I mean, I'll become super L. I'm like, fire everybody. I don't care.
That's how Garrett is.
I'm like, this
absolutely get him out.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. So actually, Walt, since you brought up NBA, we'll kind of just jump there and circle back to NFL later on. But the NBA deadline is a day away. By the time folks see this, it'll be the day of, and I'm sure news will be breaking and all of that. Where you got some news in regards to the Kings making the moves, swapping out Sabonis or Tyrese Halliburton, who was a guy that I was a big fan on that squad for Sabonis. And folks have been kind of up in arms about that. You follow the Kings for quite a bit. Jason, what do you think of that move that they made over there?
When I saw it, I was surprised that Tyrese was in the deal, but then again, I wasn't. I mean, they got 3 point guards, all of them top 10 picks. Somebody had to go.
Yep.
Number one, it wasn't going to be De'Aaron. He makes the most money. It wasn't going to be Davion Mitchell because, Davion hasn't even played a full year. And in terms of his game, it's harder, I think, to sell him to a new fan base because he's not a dynamic scorer per se.
Right. Yeah.
Tyrese is just, he's got enough, you've seen him play enough. And you had to get they had to get it. They needed an infusion of talent in the worst way. Right. They got too many guys who were, hey, he'd be a good player on a good team, but on this, they got too many guys like that. And
that whole roster
automatically becomes their best player, which I think helps De'Aaron. De'Aaron's never had a teammate this good in his NBA career. Like when he had Zebo, this is the end of the career Zebo.
Right.
When he was playing with Vince Carter, this is right before Vince Carter retires.
Right.
Yeah. He's never had a teammate this good.
Right.
And what it says is, they're all in on De'Aaron. And, and they're going to try to figure something out. And I think part of the kind of the angst is that, number one, whenever the Kings make a move, I think we're just trained to say it's terrible before we think about it.
Right.
I looked at it, I said, you know what? You got a guy who's 25 and a two-time All-Star in exchange, and who was Indiana's best player without giving up your best player. You didn't give up a first-round draft pick. The only player of consequence you gave up who you probably would have wanted was Tyrese. They were trying to get rid of Buddy Hield for a year. Tristan Thompson was a salary filler. I mean, at some point you have to do something different. And so while I get it, and I think part of the angst also was that if you've talked to Tyrese Halliburton, it's impossible not to like Tyrese. It's impossible. But you have to ask yourself this too. How many All-Star games is Tyrese Halliburton going to make? I mean, and that may sound like I'm being cold, but I'm just saying.
No, that's a valid question.
Fall in love with what a guy might be. You're making the trade for, as of today, they got the best player in the trade. If Tyrese becomes an All-Star, say 3 years from now, okay, that'd be great for him. But by then, the Kings might have fired 2 more coaches. And then, and fired the GM. I mean, that's the reality of this. The guys are trying to, they don't want to lose their jobs.
I think part of the trepidation for Sacramento Kings fans, and Garrett, you can speak to this too, is that Tyrese was one who, when they drafted him, he voiced like his commitment to seeking to change the culture in Sacramento as well too.
I told you he didn't deserve that.
What is that?
I told you he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve to do that. He had to do that. I said last episode that he shouldn't have committed that way to the Kings, but he showed that and it was appreciated. But I get what you're saying though, in that
he's one like no other player has been like Sacramento.
They've had guys say that. I mean, you've missed the playoffs 15 straight years. Everyone wants to change it. And think about Sacramento, they have an affinity for guys who say they love the city because they still have this kind of mindset of, no one wants to be in Sacramento. No one likes us here. No one likes us.
Right.
So you say, I love Sacramento. Sacramento's going to love you back.
Yeah.
It don't matter what you do on the court. And I think, part of it is that when you make a trade, people fall in love with the good parts of you as a player and forget, like with Tyrese, he's got a lot of good to his game, but he's also got some areas he's still got to get better in defensively. He's got to get stronger. He can still be pretty inconsistent, in terms of his aggression on offense, unless De'Aaron's not playing. And the thing is, De'Aaron's not going anywhere. So there was going to be the fans that all kind of turned on De'Aaron and was like, we got to get rid of De'Aaron. That wasn't going to happen, in part because it hasn't been the best season De'Aaron's had. He would tell you this is not the way he planned to play this season. And secondly, he's on a max deal.
Right.
And you get a guy like Sabonis making less than $20 million. He's their third highest paid player. So, I mean, I get both arguments, but I've been saying for years with Sacramento, you can't keep bringing the same team back and wonder why you win 30 games.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. You can't keep doing that. And the other thing is they're woefully just a small team. Like they're starting Rashawn Holmes at center. Rashawn is not the size of a starting center in the not on a good team.
I don't understand what they do at center either, because it's like their center doesn't get consistent minutes. They shuffle the centers between Rashawn Holmes, Alex Lynn, Damian Jones.
Well, that ends
everybody. So like I don't.
That ends. Because it's a bonus or 4 or 5. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
He's your best big. So now we don't have to worry about who's the best big. That's your best big.
Yeah.
You got that settled. And to me, this the guy that helps the most is De'Aaron. Now De'Aaron, now he's got to be more consistent, of course, but he got somebody to fight with now. We can go fight some teams now. We got some. I got a guy with me now, whose talent is comparable to mine.
Right.
So I mean, I get the move. I also get why people don't like the move. But like I said, a lot of times you can fall in love with a guy when he's young, and then you in your mind project that he's going to be the superstar. And the reality is, most guys don't become superstars.
Right.
I mean, how many guys who win Rookie of the Year just happen to win Rookie of the Year and go on about their careers? And I mean, the Kings had a guy, Tyreek Evans. He averaged 20 points as a rookie year. Yeah. I don't think he averaged 20 points again.
Right. No.
So you have to kind of just play you can't. And the worst thing a bad team can do is overvalue its own players. Like he's our second best player, and you have to ask yourself, what does that get you?
Right.
Because I know the Kings fans on Twitter got mad because I said that Sabonis was their best player since DeMarcus Cousins. No, Tyrese was
mad. Yeah.
Tyrese was better. And so I mean, here I hate when this type of debates happen because it sounds like I'm just dumping on Tyrese, but I'm not. And I'm like, De'Aaron's been hurt. Tyrese has been your best player. How many games have you won with him as your best player?
Right.
You were down by 60-something points in Boston.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Well, so I was like, and it's not like I said, it's not shade on it's not Tyrese's fault. But if you're going to say Tyrese is our best player, I need you to tell me why. Why he's because to me, before the deal, De'Aaron was still their best player. De'Aaron was the one guy that can go get a shot. He's got a skill in terms of that speed that you can't, when he's going downhill, you can't match it. So, I think Tyrese is going to be a fine NBA player, but depending on who you talk to, I know somebody, what did one of my colleagues say? To him, Tyrese is a high-level role player. Like a Sean Livingston, like he can start for you, sure. But if you're going to build your team around him, you might have a problem. That being said, watch Tyrese go to Indiana, average 23 and 13 and have fans.
Have that Malcolm Brogdon type arc.
Yeah. We shall see.
But it's I just think if you're the Kings, you can't get married to what someone might be, because worrying about what a guy might be has you about to set a record for missing the playoffs in consecutive years.
Yeah.
And they're
gonna miss it again.
Yeah, high school students, have never seen the Kings in the. My son is 13. He has no idea what the Kings being in the playoffs looks like.
Right. Yeah. Sad thing. And then they still might miss it. I know they're kind of racing for the 10th seed right now, but with the Pels going and getting CJ McCollum, they might bend them off still too. So
I mean, they're racing for what? You're racing to try to
11 seed Kings, man.
Yeah, and hey, the way it's looking, they could be racing to play the Lakers in the play-in game.
Yeah,
right.
That's very real possibility.
That's
yeah, while Brooklyn's playing Toronto in a play-in game or something. Yeah, this season is weird. Yeah.
It's weird all around, definitely, and could continue to get weird. We're hearing rumors of stuff like James Harden for Ben Simmons possibly may happen in the near future and all of that. So teams are falling apart and reconstructing and all trying to piece together. It's just been wild to see how it all has unfolded. Alec, what you got on the for next to discuss there?
Just in terms of the trade deadline, like
yeah.
I mean, we can stick with the CJ McCollum one.
Yeah, we kind of bounced around there.
Quick. Yeah, I mean, because we had talked about potentially wanting. Oh, we skipped over one too with the Caris LeVert trade,
right,
to Cleveland. So I was gonna say we had talked about Brandon Ingram potentially being a target for Cleveland, getting that forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Caris LeVert kind of fills that void that we were thinking Cleveland still had, and potentially, I mean, what are they still 3 in the East? Maybe 4 now.
They're high up there. They're high up there. And this definitely
there's like a game and a half or 2 games, like from 1 through 5.
Yeah. So Cleveland has been a major surprise story this season, and it looks like they're not going anywhere. I mean, we're like past 50 games in, that look like they're going to be a potentially top 4 seed in the East in the playoffs. So credit to them, and I think that move to get Caris LeVert was a huge one. Ricky Rubio obviously out for the season, and so that deal was more about the money for Indiana. But yeah, I really like that move, and then we can discuss the New Orleans one as well if we want.
Yeah, what I like about Cleveland is that whenever something happens, they go out and say we're not going to settle. They lost Rubio, they go get Rondo. They're like we need a veteran off the bench. They realize that, especially with Sexton out, they don't have any scoring in the backcourt outside of Darius Garland. So what do you do? Right. Make a deal to make something happen. I mean, they're proactive. They're actually trying to win. As opposed, so I'm all for. I hate tanking, so they're actually trying to win.
Right. Yeah. And then making a good push as well. I brought up this idea to Alec. What do you think of the idea of the Cavs being the NBA's version of the Cincinnati Bengals this year?
Oh yeah, you did say that. Yeah,
we got a long way to go before we get there.
Yeah, long way to go, but just seeing the potential there, they can make a push the way that they're putting together.
I would not pick them to beat Milwaukee in a series. I would not pick them to. I wish I wouldn't pick them to beat Brooklyn, but I don't know what version of Brooklyn you're going to get.
No, exactly.
If you have the Kyrie still can't play on the road, version,
right?
Maybe KD's not all the way right, That kind of throws a couple of things off. Would I pick them to beat a experienced Miami team? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would I pick them against the Bulls? To me, them and the Bulls is kind of a toss up.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, let's just get to the playoffs because I can't call it right now.
Let's just get there, but I guess
it's tough to
in the first round, so I can go ahead and get on with my sad Laker life.
Right.
It's tough to compare NBA to NFL because in the playoffs, NFL you only have to beat a team once.
Right.
So I could see the Cavs getting a game or 2 maybe in a series, but beating a team, any of those teams that you just mentioned 4 times would be very tough for that young squad.
Except Brooklyn is because Brooklyn might have me playing point guard.
Right.
That game last night, I think, against the Celtics, that starting lineup was atrocious.
Yeah, it was bad, and it showed on the box score quick. Yeah. They got beat down pretty bad. So, yeah,
started off
thing there. But to your point about sad Lakers, do you guys want to see any Laker move happening before this deadline right now, or what do you think? Is there any salvaging of this season at this point?
I don't think the move they can actually make with this team. I mean, I think they're kind of almost locked in with this roster, and the move they can make is actually play like they give a damn.
Yeah.
Let's start by not being down by 20 points in the first half every game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's the move they can make is actually play.
Yeah.
And show some commitment on defense. Can someone besides Stanley Johnson and Trevor Ariza defend the perimeter?
Right.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Can my man Russ not just open up and let guys go right? That Clipper game, like, come on, that half double team, like, what are you doing?
His
defenses
hurt us more than his offensive struggles, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, guys are gonna miss shots, but like that soft dunk. I'm like, it wasn't even. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you like? What are you doing? Why are you like stunting at the guy with the ball? He's gonna shoot it.
Right.
You know, help Austin Reeves out. Austin Reeves can't win this matchup. What are you doing?
Come on now.
You know, and that's the part about Russ that's probably more frustrating. You know, some of it's probably maybe it's age, but the defense and turnover. Even turnovers are down, the defense still isn't good. I mean, he's getting sat for defense now. Yeah, sometimes more than the offense. So I mean, and I don't think it's fair to make Russ a scapegoat. To me, they got other issues. So it's not just Russ's fault. I think people should really be on this front office. You know, that if what you believe is true, let LeBron tell them to go get Russell Westbrook instead of instead of making a deal where you could have kept a little more depth. You could have kept KCP, for example, and then added Buddy Hield.
Right.
So the front office needs to be getting skewered to me more than the players and the coach, because I mean, and guys like Carmelo. To me, Carmelo hasn't been that's the problem. The problem is you don't have enough depth on the wing. You don't have
right.
And the whole idea of getting Westbrook would be like, so when LeBron can't play, we still got two dominant guys, and like have all three of them ever played. Number one, they've barely played together all season.
Right. Yeah.
And even rarer is that all three of them play well in the same game.
Yeah. Yeah. LeBron and Russ fit just hasn't worked. Like Russ and AD has worked fine, and Russ by himself, obviously, because we've seen him do that before. But LeBron and Russ essentially play similar roles, but LeBron does it at a higher level, being a point guard. Yeah. So,
and because Russ can't shoot, you can't just stick him in the corner and say shoot threes.
No.
Yeah.
And now when you watch him, he's just so in his head right now.
He is. That's what's hard to see.
Like, that's the hard part for me to watch, is that you can just see a guy with no confidence out there. Like he doesn't want to shoot, and it pains me to watch, because I'm like, man, this is not getting. Man wanted to come home and play in LA for the hometown and getting booed at home.
Yeah.
The bank shot, not getting anywhere near the. I mean, this is so. I feel for him, and I think he did an interview with The Athletic where he talked about being home and how that made him feel so much better. I'm like, don't nobody want to hear that, man.
Yeah.
Just care about winning, like you said.
Nobody want to hear about you happy that you can be around your kids for Christmas. As cold as it is, how fans are. Nobody want to hear that.
Right.
Like, I mean, when I get irked, like this, and say I go on Instagram after a game, I'm like, why are you on Instagram, man? Y'all lost. Get off Instagram.
Yeah. All of it. We always got mad at LeBron for that.
That's when I become angry, man. I'm like, why are you posting on Instagram right now? Y'all lost by 20.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
I'm not liking this photo, LeBron. I ain't liking this. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and not lose to the Kings twice.
Yeah.
Hey, stats over wins though. They get their stats off. They gonna let you know about it still, even if they lose. So it's a tough thing to see. Alec, you were at the Knicks game a couple of days ago. What do you think of that experience in person? Were you in there booing Russ too, or no?
No, certainly not. I had my Russ jersey on. Actually, I was feeling like I was about to take a.
Weren't Ravens were on the show today? I see.
What is that?
Weren't Ravens were on the show today, but we're at the game. It's all right. That's cool.
You're a brave man wearing I wouldn't even imagine wearing a Russ jersey right about now.
Yeah, man. It was a Christmas gift I wanted.
He was happy too.
He had been, absolutely. He'd been one of my, and still is, one of my favorite players, especially since Kobe retired. He was just one of the few I'd seen with that competitive edge since Kobe. And Kobe kind of gave him a nod too, like in his playing days. But I'm not seeing that on the defensive end, like you talked about, Jason. And it rang very loud and clear, like you said, that his confidence is kind of shaken right now. Like that was what really stood out to me in that New York game, just watching it there live. He looked like a shell of himself completely, and just like not confident in his shot at all. Not running back on defense. It was like he would sulk when he would miss a layup and then not run back immediately, and New York would have an advantage. It was just like, it was really tough to watch. And it was my girlfriend's first time at a Lakers game, first time seeing Russ play. And she was like, is he usually better than this? I was like, this is a terrible first impression. of Russell Wilson.
Man.
It was
the worst game of the season, honestly. And one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. So
yeah.
it was tough to watch.
I said maybe that's. I mean, it was about a month ago where I'm saying, wow, Russ is really keeping them afloat right now.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I just think you know about like Laker fans in particular. Laker fans, like a lot of fans, will pick the one player whose fault it is all the time.
Yeah.
And just pile on.
They're, you know, if it wasn't going to be Russ, it would have been AD because they're not going to blame LeBron.
Right.
I will.
Yeah.
They love Malik Monk.
The majority. Yeah.
They love Malik Monk. They love, Austin Reed,
Yeah.
So someone's going to have to catch this heat.
And part of it is Russ $44 million tag. They are always pointing to how much he gets paid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
like any of us are turning down a paycheck,
right?
Even if we're bad at our job. Exactly. If I'm writing terrible stories, I ain't gonna be like, man, this story's terrible. Don't pay me this week. No, pay me.
Yeah.
Right. I just don't get wrapped up in their contract. I'm like, somebody thought he was worth it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What LeBron and AD did. So.
Yeah.
Don't listen to your players.
make moves for yourself. So we'll definitely see how things unfold at the deadline here. I've got to make a check myself and see if anything's happening right now. Honestly, it's all happening.
I hope not. I'm not gonna be writing about it. I don't care. I hope not.
Understood there. Understood. But actually, circling back to the NFL, something that you have written about recently was the topic of Brian Flores and things going on with the coaching carousel going on there. Kind of circling back to that. It's been interesting to see how that all unfolded with all the hires now in place. I think officially there were 5 white head coaches that were hired this round. One black head coach, Lovie Smith, and one multiracial, I guess he's going as coach in
they called him Logic.
McDaniel. Yeah, Logic. Everybody calling him Logic and things. I always try to make a joke. He said that himself. So
somebody said Sean King finally got his crack in the NFL.
I guess so.
They're just, I mean, and it's just crazy for him because he had talked about, his racial makeup a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of got up again because Deadspin wrote an article about trashing white coaches getting a job.
Right.
And he was they were like, don't let him quote Mike Jones. He's just, a culture vulture. And it's just like,
oh my gosh.
And it's like, oh yeah, we're sorry. He is actually biracial. My bad. But it's I wrote about Brian because the thing that resonated with Brian with me with the Miami situation was that it was about relationships and all this it's like people think sports is about winning and losing. It is, but it isn't.
Right.
How you get along with people matters, and that can be difficult at times for people to kind of adjust their space and how they deal with people. But how you get along does matter. And it's almost like, Brian didn't kiss the ring in Miami. They say like, you got to go. And then the lawsuit came. I was like, oh man, he must really be mad.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's still in the running for a couple of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
The cynic in me does say that his lawsuit got Lovie Smith that job in this sense. That after this lawsuit comes out, the Texans know there ain't no way they can hire Josh McCown as their head coach now.
Right. They wanted to so bad.
And I knew Josh when I covered the Raiders, but there's nobody in the world you can have all this out here. Lack of opportunity, lack of diversity. What are you gonna do?
Especially after how they did David Culley,
who's an assistant coach at a high school, and make him our head coach.
Right.
That would be anarchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And while I guess in a way we're thankful that Lovie has a job there. What is it going to take for others to get back in that cycle of head coaches and just kind of work their way up? I know people. The Texans wanted to hire Josh McCown. There's people that you see where they want to go hire these other folks. And what would it take for us to get more of those opportunities?
Someone to give them an opportunity. I mean, I don't know what the coaches can do any differently. I mean, Eric Bieniemy's been interviewing for how long?
Right. So what?
Because the thing is that what makes this situation tricky is that we know that, like, black coaches tend to get the worst job out. Like poor David Culley had to take that terrible job and overachieve and still get fired.
Right.
But like even like look at Flores and the Giants. Number one, teams have been using the Rooney Rule of the sham thing, like a check off the box thing for years. That's not a shock. Secondly, if you're the Giants and say they're like, well, why did you do this? Was it racist? They could be like, we wanted a guy who was an offensive guy. We got it. How do you tell? I don't know how legally you determine that that's not what they were actually doing.
Right.
I think it's funny that Dennis Allen, who was a flop as the Raiders coach, just gets promoted to head coach in New Orleans.
Right.
But the whole relationship thing, we know him, we have a relationship with him. Therefore, we're going to make sure he gets this job. And what I hate for the coaches is that you go through all these interviews and knowing damn well they're not going to hire you.
Right.
And to me, that is the tough part. Just you go through all this, this interview and that interview, and kind of like what did Flores say? The John Elway thing, which I thought was bizarre.
Right, that they showed up hungover at this interview.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but it made me laugh. The whole idea of drunk, hungover John Elway asking about, so what defense you're going to run if you get here. I don't. It's crazy. It's wild. It's insane. But you know what? It's football, and as mad as people get, they're going to still watch.
Right.
I mean, NFL knows that. And I don't know what the solution is, because we can all see the problem. We can we all see it. But I don't know. I think, once you got some, different ownership coming in, it's going to look at things differently.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do.
Right at the top. Yeah.
I mean, we're slowly trying to see more black GMs and people move up the ranks there. So that hopefully will help. But to your point, respectfully, I was just to him, like I was just kind of confused just in that, like he did a big interview with Get Up on ESPN, and when they asked him just like what change he wanted, he said he just wanted to change like essentially the hearts and minds of the management there. And while I get that, at the same time, I don't get that. Like it sounds good, but I don't know.
Hearts and minds of nobody.
Right.
They didn't want to hire you. I'm trying to make sure I don't get cussing. They didn't want to hire your black skin before the lawsuit. They don't want to hire you now.
Right.
You're not going to change the hearts of people.
Right.
I always remind folks, 1964 was a long time ago, but it wasn't a long time ago. 1968 was a long time ago, but it wasn't a long time ago.
Right.
You're not just going, people who have been doing things a certain way for a certain amount of time, who are used to doing whatever they want because they're rich, you're going to make them hire somebody.
Right.
And if you're Brian Flores, do you want to take a job where it's like, yeah, they hired me because they were forced to?
Right.
So, I mean, to me, it's such a tricky, complicated thing because they have their ways around it. You put the Rooney Rule in, we'll interview a minority candidate. Okay. Right. Thank you. And
we're not hiring them.
Yeah. And those become like information sessions where you're learning more about other organizations, and you're like, oh, that's a good idea what they do over there. Thanks for coming. Like, I mean, remember when the Raiders interviewed T. Martin?
No. I do remember that, actually.
And it was like they're going to hire John Gruden.
Yeah, it was all smoke.
It's like we all knew they were hiring John Gruden. We all knew they were hiring John Gruden. I don't know what you do in those situations because, as somebody said to me, teams are going to hire who they want to hire still.
That's why we needed the rest of those emails leaked from that John Gruden.
Exactly. You cannot convince me when you've got women and former employees testifying about being sexually harassed at with that team that the only thing that came out that email was John Gruden.
Right. Well, there's plenty more.
Only John Gruden?
Right.
Come on. Like I said, I'm not even saying I like what John said, but John's got a point on that one. Like, come on, really? All those emails, just me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hold up. what were the replies to John's emails?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
He sent it to somebody.
Right. You know, what's going, you know,
why did he feel comfortable saying what he was saying? Because that was the comfortable conversations they're having.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm pretty sure if you go through my emails from 10 years ago and stuff, I probably shouldn't have said, you know, but, you know, I also wasn't sending it on my work email.
Oh, right, that too.
Executive who worked for a team that was sounds like it's so dysfunctional. They're out there getting sued, you know, for sexual harassment, you know, just doesn't sound like a great working environment. I mean, I know they've had their executives fired for sexually harassing reporters. It's like a terribly toxic environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in regards to that, hopefully that all moves positively in some kind of way. And yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Definitely keep an eye on Super Bowl, going back to the field and all of that. And just, yeah, excited, I guess, on one regard to some things that come. So that's all I have for now. Alec, do you have anything you wanted to get to real quick?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so we addressed all the sports stuff. The last thing I wanted to mention, just I think I saw you tweet about it. You saw Ozark, right?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that last season?
Well, the season's technically not over yet.
Right, the first half. What do you think of the first half?
Man, that little boy. I want to punch him. The private eyes there. If you don't shut up,
please just be quiet.
You know, I don't know who's worse, him or Tariq. I don't know who's worse.
Man, they both a mess.
Yeah, they are two candidates for CPS. I mean, they parents just kick them out the house.
Wait, are you talking about Jonah?
You're talking about Jonah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I like both. Yeah, but yeah, I was just like, this kid here. You know, this kid. But yeah, I enjoy it. I like pandemic hit. I just started binging shows. That's how I got on Ozark. I had never heard of it. But then again, I was never home.
Gotcha.
All I ever did was go to games.
Right.
And so like series, I really wasn't into like series because I was never home. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm all about, you know, Marty and all them, and you know, the wife is the real killer in the family.
Yeah,
I'm so done with Wendy, man.
Yeah, she's the real one, you know. She the one who's like, don't try me.
Exactly.
You know, Marty's trying to be diplomatic, and my girl Ruth, poor Ruth.
Yeah, I'm Team Ruth for sure.
Yeah, Ruth got a
crazy next time.
You know, you could come home to what they did. I'm like, I still can't get over the fact that her brother married that old woman.
Nasty.
Oh, that was so
nasty awards.
I almost turned the show off after that. I was so disgusted. I was
like, oh, yeah, but Ruth don't play. Ruth went up to the house like, I know you did it. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Ruth don't play.
Exactly.
So I need to see what Ruth is going to be. What's up with Ruth?
Yeah, no. The way they left it off, I was like, I need part 2 expeditiously. I need this right now.
Which means they'll make us wait till make us wait. See, what is it? February? We gotta wait till summer probably.
Yeah,
I heard May.
I think May is supposed to come back. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, why did they even do this stuff? Why did they even bring it back just to stop it?
Yeah, I don't like how they did that either, but they left it off on a good note, and I'm excited for what's next. Yeah, there's a lot going on there that I'm excited for. So yeah, definitely something else I wanted to ask you about. And yeah, that's all I got at the moment. Again, Alec, you said you're good too.
Yeah, I'm good. All
right. Well, I'll be on the Athletic. I'll be part of our live blog for the Super Bowl, but it won't be a lot of game stuff. It'll be talking about the halftime show, commercials.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even mention that. Yeah,
right.
All type of randomness. Just just a lot of fun on the blog, and then I'll be tweeting and all that other stuff. So.
Okay. Nice. Definitely gonna tune into that. Got ask you for a few things in there because I'm interested about the halftime show myself. So there was a fun thing there talking about, and we appreciate you for joining us today here as well. So
no problem.
Yes, sir. So fun things across the board here. Yes, sir. You get help out of here. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah. You're good. I was just adjusting to make sure the brim was tilted the right way.
Make sure we see it. Yes, sir. Understood. So. That's all for today. It's your boy G alongside Alec, and again, our special guest Jason Jones here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, subscribe to the show on YouTube and all our streaming platforms. Follow us on IG and TikTok at section.300. Follow us on Twitter, Section 300 Sports. A lot of good stuff going on there. And again, we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys again next week. Hopefully, we have a fun Super Bowl episode to recap there. So, yeah, excited for it all. And we'll see you guys again soon. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Deuces.